Calling James Bond. Calling James Bond. We need your help. There's an emergency happening in Kuala Lumpur. We need help. Roger that, sir. Someone will be coming soon.
We're on air.
We are on air. I didn't
Yeah.
expect you to be there, but hey, man. Welcome. Wow. We surprise ourselves now. We even surprise ourselves.
Oops.
Oops. Hey, but as Sati, again, he has his kiasu. He's been number one. He's already asking, dah start ke belum?
On
Well,
time.
on time, and on the spot. But thank you so much, guys. Welcome and good evening to our special session today, together with myself and Daniel Bond Goh. Hey, Daniel Bond Goh. All right. So we're just gonna chill down and relax. And I know that most of you joining in maybe just had your dinner. So if you just had your dinner, grab a drink. Tak kira, you can do teh tarik. You want to do whiskey, champagne, wine, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, that's fine. As long as you got a drink there. Today is going to be a chill night because I have a special guest here with me live already. We have a surprise guest, and the surprise came out with me during the start, so we both surprised ourselves. But this feels like what, Daniel? This feels like we are at the start before heading into when you happen. And there's pre-drinks. Do you feel like
Cocktail
that's
party.
the cocktail party, just
Oh,
hanging
yeah.
out, chilling, getting, people starting to let their hair down slowly. Everybody's just really, really nice and calm about it before the storm comes in.
Yeah. Oh, I miss it, man. Seriously, before all the
Oh,
pandemic
God.
days, the functions, and yeah. Good evening to everybody. Thank you for
Yes.
looking at these two fellas shock sendiri.
Hey, don't say like that lah. Don't say like that. Kita tak ada tak sendiri. Kita orang betul-betul. Yes. We got Chris. Hey, but then it's the first time Chris came up with a different intro.
Yeah,
What's
what's
shaker
shaken but
Bernard
not
that?
stirred, folks?
Hey,
It's not his
something
usual what's
something
crackling.
different, right? Boleh ke? Okay lah. I think that today's topic alone itself, ask guys to be a bit more different. So that's good. That's good. All right. So we've got a few more people coming in as well. We got Yata as well. Hey, just done my 7 kilometer run. Hey, don't make this feel bad lah. Okay. All right. We just did our, light drinks pre-live session show. We just sit down and chat. Both of us were not wearing anything proper yet before we got into our dinnerware. Yeah, cool stuff. And we got a few more people. Hey, Hazia, how you doing?
Hello, selamat
Yes,
petang.
welcome. Selamat petang and welcome to the party. So sekarang tengah cocktail time before the actual dinner. So we're just chilling. I'm chilling here at the lobby. I'm facing this way. So if you're looking at me, you can see the lobby behind there, right? But if you're facing Daniel, then you can see the bar behind him. Wow, nice stuff. Wow,
Hey,
President
Johan.
of Maps here. Johan, how you doing?
Selamat petang.
Johan, I love his stuff, man. He just bought a mouse. I saw that, the Apple mouse, and he was doing an unboxing. Wow, and then it was I mean, for me, like you said, who uses a mouse anymore on your Apple? But it seems that you want to get one. That's very cool. Yes, and our good friend, hey Nikki, how you doing, man? Yeah, this attire actually is what we wear every night. Yeah. Pergi mamak pun macam ni. Yeah, if we go to the mamak restaurant and wear this, the next thing you know, the table next to, bang, boleh order tak? Okay, guys, I'm sorry if you guys can hear someone screaming in the background. That's my little daughter screaming away, wanting daddy. Susah lah. Olga Glokovic.
Glokovic.
Eh?
I got no Glock lah, but here's my weapon lah, my banana that seems to be quite invisible because it's still greenish. And
Cool stuff, man. Yes, Johan. Today everybody is very formal because you know why we want to talk about the main topic for today. Just let me reprise that topic here. So, how to speak like a gentleman. So, gambar here. Tengok gambar ni. Gambar. Actually, don't worry lah. Those are all superimposed. Okay, I don't have that sort of muscle, and then my hand is not as tough as that lah. I think if you do this, can you see my hand here? Is it the same? I don't know different. Let's see, Daniel, your hand. Is it the same? You pegang pisang tadi tengok. Okay. Pegang pisang, let's see. Sama tak?
my head not that small, lah, bro. Out of proportion.
Okay lah. Never mind. But good to have everyone on board today. We've got a few people on Facebook as well, and also on LinkedIn here live. Do let us know that you're here with us by popping in, just dropping a comment saying hi. You know, we are here. There's two uncles or slash gentlemen's wannabe who want to talk about how to be a gentleman. Alright, so okay lah, kita kena buat the formal thing lah. So kita nak welcome Daniel Goh. Daniel, this is the first time you came in individually, right? As a single host, as a guest to the show.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Correct.
So Dr. Eric became the first mangsa, right? The first victim.
Normally he's the one who does all the FaceTime now. So this is my first time actually appearing on someone else's. No, hang on, this is the second time. The first time was with you as well, where we had a party on air.
Oh, that one was
Introvert versus extrovert. Wow, that was quite a show, quite something. So yeah, this is my first time appearing solo on anybody else's broadcast, and it's yours.
But please give us some detail about what you're wearing today lah. I'm
So what
just amazed with the bow tie there, and then please cerita sikit lah.
Standard lah, white shirt with cuffs. Hang on, let me just pull the cuff out.
Oh, what kind of cuff is it?
So this is a ball cuff, which is made of wires. Yeah, and I got this suit tailored in JB, coincidentally. And actually this tie and this pocket square one set lah. So shock sendiri lah. Dah lama tak pakai kan, pandemic lockdown nak pergi mana sih. In fact, the last time I actually suited up like this was exactly 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Wow. Time.
Wow.
Yeah, man. 2019 September, and that was for a company dinner, a black tie affair. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Nice. I can't remember the last time I went for a corporate event. I mean, bow tie. In fact, well, I mean, I've been out once or twice, but usually it's just normal party lah. Normal party.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then lockdown came, so game over. Party at home lah.
Itulah susah sekarang. Alright, cool. Thanks so much for sharing a bit about the background there, what you're wearing. So for a lot of guys here, they're asking kenapa formal ni kan? Ini kita nak fun sikit lah. You want to talk about being a gentleman, so you want to look the part. But again, so the whole point today is to speak like a gentleman. And Daniel, the reason why I brought you in is partly because whenever you speak, you sound like very cool, very calm. I don't know. Do you get upset?
Do I get upset? Of course I do. Of course I do. I'm just human anyway. I've got my own limits, and I get upset once in a while. Hopefully not too often anyway. But yeah, I'll be a liar if I tell you I don't get upset. That's pure bull.
Oh, somebody post a very hot comment here. Comment panas. It says here, hybrid attire, top formal, bawah short only. Hey.
No. Tak ada. I can stand up, seriously.
Ooh.
I can.
Hey, why you want to sabo me? Don't sabo lah. Okay. We're using the same color, the 3 stripes. Underneath it, it's just 3 stripes, okay? So
don't stand up, okay? We're live on air. We'll be scarred.
All right, cool. Now, let's get stuck into it. Very keen because, lots of stories to talk about. A lot of stories that people were sharing when I was talking about being a gentleman on LinkedIn. But I want to know from you, Daniel. Share with us a real gentleman that you have met in your life, and then why. There's a bit of background. Yeah.
So, first of all, the definition of a gentleman is very hard to define. It's not exactly very definitive. And to really share my experience of encountering gentlemen in my life and why, well, it
Mm.
really is dependent on context. And I've seen snippets and moments of it at different stages lah. And most of the time is, I would say that it's just so happened that there was a moment that a person that was observing was behaving that way. And we'll get into that more, what defines a gentleman. But to answer this, share with everyone the real gentleman that I have met in my life and why. So far, I think I would say that would be my grandfather and my father, just as what I've posted this morning
Mm.
on my LinkedIn post. Why? Well, to keep the explanation short, my grandfather is very, very traditional. Um, for someone who has gone through very, very rough times, anyway, he's a war veteran, at least two conflicts, World War II, and the unspoken war or the undeclared war against the commies
Mm.
in Malaysia. So, but whenever he's home, he's very, very gentle. And that generation, public display of affection is rare, very, very rare, especially for his generation. But yet,
Mm.
at home, I spent some time with my grandparents. Quite a common sight to see him embracing my grandmother. I said, "Oh, okay." It became a
Mm.
norm, to me, PDA in the family, and there's no embarrassment or awkwardness. And the same goes for my father as well. Every morning, I can recall very vividly that before he leaves for work, he gives my mom a kiss. And not just on the cheek, it's literally mouth to mouth. Like, oh, okay. And he'll rub my head or do whatever he does. Yeah, he rub my head, ruffle my hair. That's usually the case. Yeah.
Wow.
Um, I thought that's very, very chivalrous. And that's just on the surface, and there are a lot of other moments that I could go on and on. So I would say those two are the first examples of how a gentleman would be, or at least glimpses of it.
Nice, nice. Thanks for sharing that insight, man. Yeah. Your dad is still around?
My dad's gone. He was gone in 2014. I mean, my grandfather as well.
Mm.
But yeah, yeah.
Mm. Oh, that goes to show that some of the comments that we got on the Facebook poll was that beyond the points that I have raised,
Mm,
is the fact that the upbringing, the tradition, the family value that you get when you were growing up, that actually sets forth uh, what you would be as an individual, what are the principles and values that you appreciate,
it
and
does.
whereas it does, right?
Yeah, it does. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of things starts from home. At least from my own experience. I don't know about the audience. I mean, feel free to drop in your comments to share your own experience as well. But yeah, my first encounter is from home. And yeah,
Wow.
that's Marissa. Hello.
Yeah. Oh, that's Marisa. Hey, Marisa, how you
Yeah,
doing?
Marissa. So formal, pakai
Sure.
formal pants.
Your
Aku
name,
pakai pants lah. Tapi kita punya kawan aku tak tahu lah.
Ada? I think either pants. Two pants. All right, cool stuff. Thank you so much. Hey guys, so for those that are listening in, do share with us, who are the gentlemen that you guys know from your own life. It could be someone that we know. It could be your father, your mother, your relative, someone famous. Just let us know because well, before going on to the show, I myself have to think really deeply, like who is a real gentleman that I know, right? Easily you can always, father, yeah, because values and so on. But is there anyone else outside of that you that had an impact in you that you feel, wow, this guy really solid. No matter what, I know that he's got my back. So there's a few people. Usually there's the best friend, but then there are instances where oh, that might not be the right thing to do, and then you question that. But I guess that you won't be able to find someone perfect lah, right? It
Correct,
won't be.
correct,
Mm.
correct.
Oh,
Exactly.
look at this. So I
Yeah,
think this is Marisa. I can't really see
Marissa.
her.
Late
Yep.
father
So
as
my late
well. There we
father.
go.
Okay.
Starts from
Right.
home.
Right. Start from home. Brilliant. Okay. Nice. So we've got that sort of covered. Very cool. And I wanted to ask Daniel, the main reason why I brought you in here, lah, okay, main reason, right, is this. So a gentleman speaks well. So what got me started with this conversation was actually for everyone's knowledge is that I had a chat with Daniel and said, hey, I really like how you speak, and then I feel that you're very sincere, very open, fun to talk with, can have fun, can be silly, but when it comes down to it, you're actually quite serious and you speak well. You speak from the heart. So I can feel that. But is that really what a gentleman is? Does a gentleman
Um,
speak well?
I suppose part and parcel, part of the package, I say. It's not just about the language, obviously, it's part of it, right? And let's be clear, it's not about the proficiency of a certain language, it's just how that person speaks generally, regardless of the choice of language. It could be a Chinese, could be a Malay, could be even be English for that matter. And courtesy, manners, these are among a few things, I suppose, a few basic um, values. And again, it really goes back to how our respective upbringing is. And let's say if you are joining us tonight, viewing this live broadcast, parents especially can relate to us teaching our kids first few things, first few words, magic words like please, thank you. It starts from that. So, gentleman speaks well. Well, I'd say yes, part of the package, but it's got to complement with other things, yeah, not just speaks well, but then behavior koya, then
Yeah.
visit kantoy.
Yeah. It's all this myth, right? Because we do have people who speaks really well, but then what is inside the heart, we don't know. Where is
There we go.
there's sincerity, we don't know. That's very
There we
dangerous. I mean,
go.
like,
Sincerity, correct.
yeah, that's a lot of it. Later on, we'll be sharing with you the result from the recent poll that I did, and then just showcase with everyone what everybody has been voting or what they've been saying. All right. So just a follow through. I got some comments here of people sharing those that they feel are you know that they look up to. So Yatang said that in my cadetship, we are trained on how to speak, how to address, how to eat in formal setting, how to hold your
Exactly.
drink, how to be respectful, how to stand and sit in formal setting, and how to
Correct.
mingle in formal setting. Wow, I really, I did have a session in my one of my firms, and we spoke about ethics, when meeting clients or when you're going for dining and whatnot.
Yep.
Wow. So have you gone through something like this before?
Well, not exactly. I mean, I didn't really go through any formal training, even if there's such a thing. I never knew that such thing exists. But I tend to agree with Yat Tong. I mean, Yat Tong, he was a former serviceman in the military, so that's really a class of your own. You see an officer that's higher ranking than you salute, and if you're that higher ranking officer, if someone salutes you, it's also a courtesy and mandatory for that officer to salute back. So that kind of thing is a very polished etiquette. As for myself, how to speak, how to address, how to eat in a formal setting. Let's just go back to how to address. Let's keep it simple and down to basics, like Chinese family, when you're on a dining table and there are elders there, uncle, auntie, jia, that kind of thing. Or even in some Malay families, I also heard, pa, makan, jemput makan. This kind of things, very, very simple, is it? Formal settings, also that there are do's and don'ts, certain etiquettes, how to hold a drink. I actually like that as well, how to be respectful, how to stand and sit. I'll give you an example. My father, actually my grandfather, yeah, I noticed something very significant that he did. It caught my eye because there was a time where everybody was sitting down, and suddenly I noticed before he went down, and then before he landed his butt on the chair, he got up. And so I thought that was weird. So anyway, then I let it be lah. And then it happened again in just a few moments. Now the reason being is that I noticed, and then after that, subsequently and other times, there is a consistency in his behavior. Is that whenever there is a lady at the table and everybody is settling down, so long as the lady or any one of the ladies are not seated yet, the gentleman doesn't sit. You can go down together. There's a lady, there's a gentleman. Okay, the lady goes down further, and you time it. But if the lady says, "Oh, drop my handbag," and then she gets up, the gentleman don't land his butt on the chair. That's something I recognize on my grandfather. Tak pernah fikir though. But then I look, yeah, that was what I observed from
Interesting, man.
yeah, interesting.
Interesting, man.
So,
That's
wow. Okay.
The timing of sitting like that, okay, that's going to be very hard.
It's just very subtle touches. Again, it's just if you polish it, if you practice it all the time, it becomes natural. But if not, then it will look very natural. But it takes
Hmm.
some observation to catch that. So this is an example.
Nice, nice. Oh, I'm learning so much, man. I mean, I haven't even opened the book on Japan yet. When it comes to formalities, setting and seniority, right? The amount of rules that you need to follow is like, oh my god, I can't do this, do that. Oh, but we'll get into that in a bit. But so much comments here. We got a few people that just step in. So we got
Oh,
Looking
hello.
smart.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing? And the man, congratulations, man, Tyler, on the recent deal. Looking forward to get more updates from you. I love the
Yeah.
stuff that those guys are doing. Yes, yes, yes. Quite a lot of good comments here. Chris Chuang, look at him. He said, "My current MD, he doesn't read or speak English well, but a very people person
There
whose
we go.
words are as good as word." Yeah, I mean, you don't have to speak, British English or Australian English or some form of English. But as long as your communication is from the heart, I think that works, right, Daniel?
It's a lot about body language, a combination of your demeanor, your facial expression.
Yes, yes,
Uh, that actually is probably the first things, if not any that people would notice, is
nice.
how your mood is being uh, judged. Put it that way, and then of course how
Wow,
you sound and speak. So
interesting. Coincidentally, this morning I had a session. I was doing a training and I was talking about effective leadership, and one of the points that was raised was the Moravian communication model, where it says that more than 90% of communication, impactful communication, is not because of the words you choose. Is the a majority of it, 57%, if I'm not mistaken, or 55, is body
mm,
language. The
mm,
remaining 30 plus is the tone of voice, and
mm,
7% is actually the choice of words.
there we go.
So, for Chris, actually that's it. If somebody wants to say something, he stands up and come and sit next to you, look at you, and then speaks with a soft voice, with a proper voice suited for the moment, that
Mhm.
impacts you more than someone can say a million words that's standing feeling just like I just gotta say this because I have to say it, and you can feel it.
Yep,
Yeah, wow,
exactly.
cool
It's
stuff.
got more than that, and also I guess it depends on the culture, the locality that one is in. Different countries, different definition. Like you mentioned, Japan earlier, they've got their own set of uh,
uh,
adat lah, so to speak.
oh dear. Oh, I come to think of it because when I came back, right, my bosses knew that I was from Japan. So every Japanese client that we have, Rizal, you're coming with me. You're gonna have to, do your thing. All right. So, oh my God, that was so fun. But all right. So, a gentleman stand up for what he believes is right, although not a popular choice. Yes, that's a person of value and principle. Now, there's a question here. It says, from Husni, does it matter these days to be one, as in be a gentleman?
Hmm.
Well, against that, maybe we'll get Daniel. Daniel, you're the guest today. Let me get you to do the honors. Maybe share your thoughts on that.
Yes, it matters because I am a living example to my 2-year-old, or anybody that who is looking up to me as an example. It matters greatly.
Mm,
Not really a matter of people's perception of how I am, or because there will always be comments or opinions out there, that this fella boyo poser je lah, or wayang, that I couldn't care less anyway. At the end of the day, it matters at home because as far as I'm concerned, I am currently raising a little gentleman alongside my wife, so uh, definitely it matters.
mm. Yeah, I guess that put aside all the bow tie and all the looks, a gentleman or James Bond or whatever theme that I put up. Right, being gentleman is actually just meaning that word itself, being a gentle person. So
Yeah,
being a gentle person is all the points that I've raised before.
yeah,
All right, so I think this one's Mercer's point. I think
yeah.
so.
Oh,
So he never raised his voice or hit a straw our lives, always reasoning out, spoke all languages and always feeding the poor, makes my mom cook and take the food to eat with the homeless folk. At his funeral, the church was packed with homeless people and just almost everyone. Everyone that he passed away at 52. Oh, such an early age. Hmm.
hmm.
Sounds like a
Okay.
great guy. Sounds
Yeah,
like a
sounds like
great
a
guy,
good
man.
guy. So yeah, never raise his voice. Wow, I tell you, one of the reasons why I don't see myself as a gentleman is because of that. Because I can tell you that very openly that I've raised my voice one too many times. But for someone who doesn't raise his voice, wow, that
Patience,
wow, champion that one. So
respect.
thanks for checking in. Really and sharing this, Marisa.
Yes. We got a few people.
Hello.
No, you see, dia tanya just to check. Today you put up makeup. This is called lighting lah, lighting. Okay, lighting.
Handsome,
Alright.
kan?
All right, we haven't got on to our question yet, but never mind because we got people commenting, so that's the main thing. So Yata
Yeah.
say in China, when
There
you
we go.
toast to your customer, you always lower your glass than your customer as a mark of respect for your
There
customer.
we go. Culture. Always
Yes,
lower your
yes.
glass than your customer as a mark. So if I were to raise my glass like this and you were to raise your glass lower, or vice versa, you raise higher, I raise lower. Okay. I didn't think of that, but wow. So in China,
Mm,
there we go.
yeah. So he did
Mm.
ask the question there, is it a gentleman behavior? Well,
I've never been to China, to be honest, but I think that is such great sensitivity. Again, it doesn't matter, but it's just the courtesy that you have. Just as what I was sharing earlier about my grandfather making sure that everybody else, in fact, it's not just ladies, men as well. All the guests are seated down, and he's usually the last to be seated. So yeah, maybe Yato, I suppose. I
I
will
think
notice
that if they are sensitive to whatever that's happening around them, when they are sensitive to the procedures, the culture, who to respect what, because the key word here is always respect, right?
Yeah.
So, it makes you a better individual or someone who is aware, high EQ. So in some
Yep.
way, it is pointing towards being a gentleman, and it's actually very crucial, right? When you're dealing with clients, if you want to know, if you want to make a difference, is to understand the culture. So knowing that is actually very key, and I'm gonna make sure that I prepare that too. So just have to be sure who's the client here. This is both of us getting lower and lower and lower. Alamak, and terbalik lah. Okay. All right, Xiang Tiao. So, my all-time favorite quote: "People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never
Yep.
forget how you made them feel." By Maya Angelou.
That's a good one.
Yes,
That's a good
yes,
one. Very
yes,
true.
yes.
Very, very true. And this resonates with Marissa's comment earlier, where she shared that her father never raised his voice or hit her throughout her life, or maybe even referring to her siblings' upbringing as well. So it reminded her how her father treated her. So yeah, that yeah.
Ngam. Very good, very good. I think that now that you've mentioned this, Xiang, so then I remember that there are people in our lives that impact us, and then when you were young, it's always the teachers, and the teachers that you remember the most are the ones that relate to you, the one that speaks to you, whatever the person does, just not wow. So I have this guy who used to be one of the I don't know what rakan pembimbing rakan sebaya guys. So he was very unique, but he wasn't really, he was teaching a subject, but he was crap at it. But what he was good was at socializing with kids, and then really taking care of them. If there's an issue, he can immediately know that someone is having an issue or something that's bugging them. So I think that's in some way encapsulates what you do. How you
Yep.
feel.
Yeah.
All right, so Yato is definitely coming in here. It's about giving face, the value of face, very important social behavior in China. I think,
I suppose so. Yeah, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah. Not only has talk until China, I'm here in Malaysia, so I think everybody's on
yeah. I think
some
so. I
level of
think so.
muka lah, kan?
There is a water face have to jaga one.
What the face.
Water
Like,
face.
so
Okay, so when I speak to a manager, he makes me feel he's important. However, when I speak with a leader, he makes me feel I am important. Okay, cool stuff. Thank you so much, man. A lot of good wisdom that we got here today. You guys are being very kind. I love it. All right, so I want to get into it, right? So let's ask Daniel the hard one. So I mean, you probably covered it already, right? So it's the
yeah.
behavior that defines him. So is it the way they speak or is it the behavior? So any points on under any thoughts on that?
Yeah. As I explained my thoughts, again, this is just my opinion. Feel free to share yours as well for those of you watching in the comment box. So again, in my personal opinion, I would say there's a higher emphasis on behavior because it's a larger criteria. I mentioned earlier, it's going to be part and parcel of the whole entire package. Speech is just one thing, right? If you are a sweet talker
Mm.
with words of honey without being genuine and being authentic of what you're saying, you don't mean it, and that's bust. That's not. Uh, that's far from being a gentleman. That's a bloody liar, if I could put it very bluntly. But if you combine it with a behavior, as I mentioned, if it's a natural behavior to that person, you can't fake it. It just shines out, and other people surrounding that person can see it very, very clearly. You don't have to like put up a strong wayang show and all that. So yeah, I
Mm.
definitely feel that if I have to put a percentage, or rather, which one is heavier, which one has got more weightage, I would say behavior would define a gentleman more rather than just the speech, because the behavior would also potentially control the speech.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay. Cool. Cool. Hey, we got Jacqueline Ng here. Hello.
boys love it every
Oh,
time she calls
boys,
us
I like
boys.
it. Okay, thank you so much. Points flying all the way to you from Malaysia to Singapore. High points. Boys, we want to be boys. Are we boys? Okay, lah, we'll take it
Always
today, lah. Always, always
perasan.
and forever. Okay, so well, it's a simple task. And Daniel is fully dressed, top to bottom, yeah, completely. All right, and yeah, the bow tie. And
Thank
I
you.
got a friend from Japan. Hey,
Hello.
Fujisaki-san, osashiburi. So, nice to see us online. Cool. So, Fujisaki-san initially was from Tokyo, working, and then she moved to the Osaka office and jumped in to my office in Osaka. She's actually not only an excellent teacher, a boss, but she's also a jazz singer. Amazing lady.
Wow.
Yeah, sings very
Ohio,
well. Thanks.
Fujisaki-sama.
Cool, cool. All right, and yeah, familiar
Yeah.
faces here. Cool stuff. So back to the behavior point. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you the results of the other day's poll. So boom, let's have a look here. So what makes a guy a gentleman? What makes a guy a gentleman? So 23% said that being open-minded and receptive, and 27% very honest and sincere. But a lot of people voted. 45% said being polite and kind. Being polite and kind. Hmm. And of course, in the verbatim lah, in all the comments there, people 2 points that really stand out. 3 points actually. One is being respectful. Respect is key because if you don't know how to respect people, you won't be able to know how to respect yourself. So that's the first one. The second one was I mentioned just now, tradition and family and upbringing. And what was the third point? The third point was okay. It'll come back to me. I just lost it. Yeah. So based on that result just now, right? When we talk about you know being open-minded, being very honest, and being polite and kind. A lot of people say being polite and kind. You can never go wrong with being polite and kind, right? So I guess
Mm.
that Marissa's story about her father, that's one example. They impact people's lives. But what about being open-minded and receptive? Then, what do you think? You know, there's a lot of people who say that yeah, it's good, but not really good.
Yeah, yeah. So I've been on that end of the spectrum as well, where I've been told that I was being flirtatious, and that's
Oh,
usually,
serious?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's usually
How are you
tied
doing?
back to tied back to being, to chivalry. Uh, so among the few things that being a gentleman is, I would say, not necessarily is, but it's good to be as well, is general courtesy, pulling up chairs, getting the door for, it doesn't have to be just for ladies, but for fellow gentlemen as well. And I'm not a smoker. Both my grandfather and my father was, and
Oh,
where they always offer drinks and cigarettes to visitors to our house. Even my friends last time, barely early 20s, siapa-siapa yang datang rumah saya jenguk, then wah, it's like drinks. And when I say drinks, it's literally any drinks that's available in the house, inclusive including his collection of bottles. And then he'll be like,
Wow.
smoke? Like, huh? And those are my
Mm.
friends who are really smokers. Put a gun down. I was like, normally parents will tell you, boy, don't smoke lah. But this fella, smoke. So okay lah. Some of them they took, and they would be surprised that my father will never give them the lighter. He lights it up for them. So I thought,
Wow, next
okay, lor.
level, man. I would have loved to meet your dad or granddad. Just
Yeah.
curious, lah. Yeah, those are the days. I mean, like, in fact, I mean, I used to smoke cigarettes, right? Now it's
Mm.
different, lah. But you can see the ones that are really, really careful about that. In Japan, uh, if you are to go out with clients or people, friends, right? When you take out a cigarette, almost in that instant, somebody will come in and light it up for you. It's come and offer, and it's
Mm.
very common. It's common sense over here, not so much.
Right.
Very rare. But okay, going back to the point, being open-minded and receptive. At the very least, I think when you talk to someone who's open-minded, someone is not as hard and rigid, not rigid, that they can't accept things, and then it makes conversation go much more easier.
Well, again, boils down to the behavior. So that's going to be the main talking point. That's the basis we're always going back to, which will then shape and influence how someone speaks, right? In this case, the gentleman we're referring to. Yeah, I mean, there will always be, hard moments where you encounter scenarios where there is arguments. I won't say arguments, but disagreements. Typically, when we say disagreements, is usually in the work setting. So yeah, being a listener, again, I'm guilty. I'm not exactly being a very effective listener. Guilty as charged, Lorna. But yeah, I mean, listening is among a key attribute, I would say. And again, I'm just speaking from my own personal experience, being a recipient of an active listener. So it really made me feel pretty good. Yesterday, for those of you who follows me on LinkedIn, I wrote a fairly raw and revealing a post about my upbringing. I ran away from home when I was 19 because I had a disagreement with my dad. But long story short, we made up, and it was the most at the time mature conversation between two persons. He, I would say, was the gentleman. I was just the young and dumb bloke who was learning his wisdom. And the way how I felt that he dealt with me, giving me the benefit of doubt and all that, indescribable. Listen, at 19 years old, your only child, your only son, all right, just took off. But of course, you still keep in touch with him. 2 years later, you still accept him home. Man, I don't know what did I do to receive that grace. So I think all props to my father in that sense. He wasn't the perfect person, but I think now that he's gone, I can really, really appreciate the little things that I was never aware of until as I get older, as I age. So
Wow.
that's just an example of diffusing, I don't know, a high tension scenario.
Well, actually, I applaud you for doing that. To be honest,
I applaud my
sometimes we
dad.
sway. No, to make that decision to just I had it, I want to run away. I think that's a brave one, and it gives you that if you want to try and do something, you want to do something different, right? I want to prove to you that I want to do something. To be able to understand what you have to leave it first. So I think that's critical. Sometimes people don't realize, right? You stay at home, you complain, yeah, you might have the time of your life when you're running away, staying with friends, but then you realize that the comfort of the family is different, and
Yeah,
good that
definitely.
you actually came back and able to see that experience as something of a learning point, and you appreciate your dad more, and that's great. I think I can say the same about my dad too.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got such a naughty boy. I I look at me 20 years ago, I would be scared, man. Dude, this guy is crazy. I'm crazy still, but
if
oh,
if
amazing.
ever we're being judged when our time comes, on this earth comes, we probably end up in hell. I guess you and I, we can be bunkmates, yeah, for what we've done.
Aduh.
But
Yeah, but kids,
mm,
kids will stretch you, that's for sure. Yeah, test your gentlemanhood.
uh,
Wow, we got some comments here. We got Husni saying, so next after gentleman is Hartman, right? After gentleman is Hartman. I would say after gentleman is Mato Fato, gentleman from Sai. Hartman, yeah, actually, is there a Hartman? Why isn't there any? There probably is. Is there a word to describe the opposite of a gentleman? Can somebody find that out? There's an opposite to gentleman. A word? I don't know. Narcissistic?
I put so today's post, right? I was writing from the opposite end of the spectrum.
Hmm.
I labeled myself as a first class type A personality, type A, and that A stands for asshole. So I don't know, maybe that could be the opposite end. So yeah,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts? For those of you tuning in, so we have got like a few
Hmm.
people on LinkedIn and some watching from Facebook as well. So
Yeah.
let us know.
Let us know. Let us know. But gentleman and Hartman. Um, I guess that if someone is not a gentleman, he's a bit not being very crude. And if you're not a gentleman, means you're not aware. If you're not aware, and you're not sure whether you're honest or sincere, you're not polite, you're not kind, you're not respectful. So type A, snob or an asshole could be it, but that's not always the case. People always want to try be nice, and then to be that ideal gentleman, you have to have a certain level of being able to understand and appreciate the whole spectrum of communication, right? That's key.
I
All
suppose. And so
right.
a lot of context as well. And yeah, Yatong's, wow. Gentleman forgives and
Mm.
most of the time forget. Yeah, that was my dad. Definitely. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, lah. A gentleman is always prepared to give away, although he is right, yet he is never self-centered to impose himself too far. Mm.
That is so true. I was never sure whether or not that's part of being a gentleman or not, but I think generally speaking, that's quite a high moral calling. Of sometimes, it doesn't matter whether we are right or not. Uh, And so if you're right, then what? I mean, is it just about pride and ego?
Mm.
And then will it, improve the situation? If not, then how would it be if we come to a common ground that both parties or more that are at conflict, that come to a table of discussion? Because if it's just a matter of proving right or wrong, then yeah,
Mm.
it's not gonna end too well.
Mm.
But you know, blood's boiling.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've probably been through a few instances like this. It's just, I've got to like really give way, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's hard, and you're right. The moral high ground.
yeah.
Okay, a few more. Yato, Trump is a hard man. Yeah, Trump is unique. Like him or don't like him, Trump is Trump. Is a brand. He's a solid brand. And Chris John has a very good set of examples. The opposite of a gentleman, a jerk, a goofball head, goofball head, and a dickhead. Okay.
Cute.
Uh, so thank
Thank
you,
you.
gentlemen, for displaying what it means to be one dude. We should all go out for teh tarik. I think whenever for Malaysians, right, a true sign of being a gentleman after every like, if we have an argument and so on, we always say, "Then let's go for a drink. Let's have some teh tarik." It seems like when you say you want to have teh tarik, it's like you setting you it's the truth. You have already that impasse. Everything's all done. It's time for teh tarik closure.
Yeah, yeah. Water under the
Yeah.
bridge, and
Yeah.
yeah. Uh,
Mm.
that is actually very very evident in our local culture here. Makan is like the tension diffuser. Here, it's like, oh
Mm.
hey, hello, hi Alia. So what she
Hey,
says,
hello.
Burma school syllabus for primary includes how to treat people and girls, so they learn early.
Hmm.
Whew, all right.
Okay. How to
Wow, it's in the
treat people and
syllabus.
girls in Burma. Don't we
Wow.
have one?
To my best memory, pendidikan moral.
Gala
Yeah,
panjang.
that's probably the closest, teaching about sopan
Gala
santun and all those
Yeah,
stuff.
okay. Okay. Yeah, actually, very true. When it comes to think of it, you probably get some advice from teachers and friends on what to do and what not to do, but not really, really like in a syllabus, lah. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
quite keen to know really, really what do they teach over there in terms of how to treat people. One
Mm,
thing that was very prevalent for me when I was in Japan and was at in the kindergartens. They teach moral values. They don't have a curriculum to start teaching you things like ABCs and 1, 2, 3s or their language. It's more on how to be able to communicate and how to behave properly. So,
right.
moral values and etiquettes are taught at such a young age, even when they're small. So I was always impressed about that, and that's why you get kids over there in Japan or even adults, the cleaning up with Japan is so big after World Cup that the only one that stay back and clean. And the whole reason why this happened is because it's something that they developed years ago. And I was listening to a talk earlier today. One guy was talking about it, and he said that it was founded by one of the first few about 400-500 years ago. It is implied that people be courteous, take care of each other, which includes taking care of whatever the surrounding, so making sure that things are clean. And it took them 400-500 years to be able to get to where they are now. So we want to start making a change and then
Mm,
having people to treat each other well. We're going to start early. If it's not better now, then better late than never. So
mm,
not saying that we are bad. We are very good. We just want to have much more the
mm.
next level lah.
Doing
Giving
right.
way is the perfect tool to end it. Really, tapi gentlemen kan, cowboys in America, when they want to settle it, they go, okay, you go outside and settle it.
Oh.
Is that a gentleman's code?
Different times, different times, different culture. In those days, kapang. Let's see. No, it looks.
That's a strange looking gun, man.
So for those of you who are wondering how come, it looks. So this is a banana. Okay, it looks like this is why is because it's green and I'm using a green screen, so it's like thinking a banana is a green screen.
I don't know that's a banana, man. It looks like
The
something else. But
Yazuka is
anyway,
famous,
let's hope that you use it for good.
right? Right.
Yeah.
I'm
The
eating it after this.
Yakuza.
Yakuza. Yeah.
The Yakuza is famous for ethics and honor. Do we see them as gentlemen in their own right? Wow. Yakuzas. I mean, they're honorable in their own way. They have their own structure to do things. Whether they are gentlemen, well, I've dealt with them before formally. Well, not deal with them in terms of, but I've spoken to them, met them in person. Yeah, it's all structured, very hierarchy. But damn, they're scary. You don't mess with them, your heart drops. They speak in a very soft tone, deep, Japanese type voice, like in the movies, right? And they don't say much. The guys underneath them, they're the ones that talk a lot. But whether I consider them as gentlemen, hmm, I would say that they follow proper protocol based on the team that they're in. But whether they are gentlemen, I don't know, man. The stuff that they do, oh, not funny.
I can't comment on that. I've never met one, and yeah, I really don't know much about Japan. Probably whatever I know is limited to the movies, to books.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just caught a Japanese. I won't say Japanese. It's a documentary about the shoguns or the samurais during the warring period in Japan on Netflix, and that's as far as I'm familiar about the Japanese culture, and even that's a documentary of past. But today,
Hmm.
I'm not too sure. Yeah,
Okay. All right. So next up, the question that we have for us to label ourselves that or others. Can we call ourselves gentlemen or
not for
what do you
me.
think, Daniel?
Not for
Yeah.
me. I mean, I wouldn't really put this as a caveat for everybody. But as far as I'm concerned, it's never for me to label myself as one. But if someone else's comments come true and says that I'm one, well, okay, I guess I can say thank you for the confidence in me. But for myself, I think I'm a very hard critic to my own self. And just like today's process, I did say that I'm a type A personality. So
No lah, we can't really claim lah. I don't think it's
we
right. Hey,
can't.
I'm a gentleman, right? That
No.
I would think that a real gentleman wouldn't put up their hands and just say that, oh,
Yeah,
sorry, I'm a gentleman. Nah, I
yeah,
don't think so. People wouldn't do that.
yeah.
Yeah, man. Okay, all right. So we're about 10 minutes away before the end. I got one more burning question. This is a cheeky one. Do we need to be like the guy in GQ or Vanity Fair to be a gentleman? Do we need to dress like one? So that's one question that we didn't address earlier because we spoke about behavior, we spoke about how people speak, values, respect, principle. Now, in terms of how we dress, I know, today we're wearing bow tie, looking all smart. Put that all aside, right? How important is it, the way you present yourself to people?
depends on depends on the setting again. What's the social? What is the outing about? Is it a formal outing, or is it a social outing, or is it just a casual outing? But to answer this question and get to the point on the
Mm,
attack, I don't think so. My granddad or my dad weren't in suits when they were embracing their wives back then. You know, they were in shorts. And my grandfather, if I can recall, he was wearing his apet singlet. I don't know what brand lah. It's very common one in Chinese family. You see your
mm,
akong, or wear that. I really can't remember lah. Yeah, just singlet or the white T-shirt. That's all. It's just a matter of the behavior. However, it's always a plus point to be well dressed, right? It doesn't have to
mm,
be like one of those models on GQ or Vanity Fair or one of the magazines that you see. Uh, but so long as it's presentable and that really reflects your authenticity or personality, so be it. People will know. Imagine if I were to wear this one day, walking out and meet all of you, you think, what the hell is this guy up to? What good stuff did he smoke, to put on this in this weather, Malaysian weather or Singapore weather for that matter. So, but it's always a plus point. Definitely a plus
mm.
point. Yeah,
But you need to know what to wear when, on what occasion lah. I think like
correct.
I've been to many weddings, right? And
Mm.
I've been to many Chinese weddings as well.
Mm.
And there are ones that goes to Chinese wedding properly dressed and so on. Then you have one like, what the hell did this guy just go like pasar malam or something? Anyway, and then attend the wedding. I think that the
Go see.
dress
Go see.
code in some way or sense of wearing the proper attire for the right occasion is important. I think you should be aware of. Now,
Yeah.
if there's a tip to people out there on what to wear, I mean we've got tons of personal branding or image specialists on LinkedIn. There's just a number of them are very
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
cool
Yeah.
and very very
Yeah.
smart, right? They tell you
Correct.
what to wear, and then I'm guilty because I actually went to one, and then she taught me about what personal branding is and what to wear and so on for what events. Imagine I bought all this stuff pre-COVID, then doom, and I can't use it. I gotta wait until the pandemic ends. But any tips that you have, simple tips, on what to wear on what occasion? How do I know? Where do I refer? What do I look at? Do I ask my friend, or do you have someone that do you have something online that you check?
Well, I do. I mean, I don't follow them religiously, but I just flip through or whatnot. And I used to have Instagram, which I don't use anymore. And one of the channels that happened to just come into my feed, I remember, was GQ actually. Yeah, GQ, coincidentally.
Hmm.
They've got very good
Malaysian GQ or GQ?
GQ,
Okay.
the international site. I think it was one of the
Okay.
sponsored ads or whatnot. And they've got
Okay.
very good spread of photos, very well taken, and some of them are celebrities themselves, nice angles and all that. But what I am very sensitive is taking points, cues of how they portray themselves, the confidence, because it doesn't matter what they wear. If it matches their personality, keyword, that's a personality, it will exude confidence. But if it's not you, then it's not going to fly. I'll give you an example. Some of them know. I'm not sure if Jiva is still with us watching, but I did mention to her that when I was working in Singapore in the office, I was sharing with you earlier too. I don't wear suit jackets, even though I was wearing a tie. But I don't complement with the suit jacket. I wore leather jackets, and I interswitch. Some days I wear my black leather jacket. Some days I wear my brown ones. On another occasion, a somewhat formal affair, suit up, ties, pants, and all that, I didn't wear dress shoes. I wore my Timberland boots, the brown Timberland boots. Could that be a fashion statement? I don't know. I guess I was just being comfortable in it, and maybe there's a bit of a rebellious streak in me. But yeah, does it look good? In my opinion, yes, it looked damn good as far as I'm concerned. I wouldn't want to wear something ugly, but that's just me. Some people will say, apa ni, mamak ni bikin ni pakai suits everything now nicely, but then tengok, wah, pakai boots and the 6 inches high boots, yeah.
Serious.
So I don't know.
So that's hiking.
That's my experience anyway. But I normally would adhere to the norm. It's just that sometimes if the occasion allows, I guess that's where creativity comes in, I guess.
Wow. Oh, nice story, man. In Japan, for guys, right, especially when you have passed the age of 30 or you're in the 40s, right, they have this term called dandy. So it's an American word, but Japan takes a lot of foreign words and make it their own, right? So dandy. So someone who's dandy is someone who is slightly matured, but able to wear clothing that exudes confidence, maturity, but comfort as well. So really, really cool. And there's just so many magazines out there in Japan. It's not funny. You have every sort of magazine to help you with decision making, especially in terms of what you wear. And it's just so much options to look for. I feel like in Malaysia there's just not enough for guys, especially. Ladies, you guys are lucky. You guys can go out there and buy loads of junk. And you go to any shopping center, there'll be like 8 shops for ladies and 1.5 for guys, and then 1/2 is like for uncles. And that's it for me. And the only thing that I have that I can wear, I mean, it's very hard for someone like me who's in the mid-40s, trying to look for something to wear. But I still feel young at heart, but I don't want to look too young. I don't want to look like an uncle as well. So I'm trapped in between. If I want to buy something, I got to buy something expensive, and I don't want that.
Right.
I'm tough, man. Yeah. All right. So, okay, so we don't really need to go to GQ or Vanity Fair. We don't have to be like the guy like that. We just wear something you're comfortable. But what was interesting, in one of the comments in the post, there was a guy who put up something called Malaysian GC. I can't recall. One of the guys put it up. So check this out. So it's actually like a GQ Malaysian made. So it was very cool because he had a lot of interviews and so on. But he did share some of the fashion that was up and coming in Malaysia for guys and also overseas, and they brought some of the guys in photos. I mean, it's something lah, but I'm sure there's something that you're referring to out there. But if ever you're referring to your friend for fashion advice, right, just make sure you have a third party to double check, because sometimes it does make a difference.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Chris, James Bond, the one that pulled off the diamond watch with a tux too at the palm or something instead of a dress watch. Yeah. Right?
It's famed Omega. What was it again? Seamaster? Was it Seamaster? I can't remember.
Seamaster.
Yeah, one of the series.
James Bond, like James Bond pakai kain pelikat pun he can lepas. Okay, it's James Bond. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saw something from Yatong. You did mention, like, I missed his comment somewhere.
Where?
Something about.
Is it this one?
No.
Oh, this one here.
Yeah, this is one of them. It's one more as well. So yeah, dress occasions need a gentlemanly behavior, especially dressing up for his woman. I so agree, especially dressing up for his woman. I dressed up for my wife as well, especially when we go out for dates. And there was a time where I went to work first, and then I'm going to meet her up after work to bring her out, and we were catching an orchestra, and it was still in Singapore. So when I checked into the office in the morning, my staff was like, "Whoa, what's going on, boss?" I said, "Well, I'm going out for a date with the wife." So yeah, I mean, it does. I'm also very cautious. I won't say cautious, but sensitive to that, because ever since I was married, right, I find that whatever I do, how I look, how I present myself is really a reflection of my wife as well. And I think one of the things we mentioned earlier is to look after the air muka of orang lain kan. I guess maybe it's one of the ways. I just want to make sure that I represent her well as a husband. Her friends will be
Oh,
proud of her. Simple things like that, And yeah, it matters to me. I couldn't care less about other people's opinion, but my wife's opinion matters.
phew. Someone's gonna get okay.
uh,
Someone's gonna get hurt really bad. No, that's Russell Peters. But wow, hey man, I completely agree. I guess that sometimes you get too comfortable with the missus, right? That nah, she doesn't really care what I wear. But once in a while, for me at the very least, you want to be able to dress to impress, and you want to impress your other half, right?
yeah,
Takkan nak
definitely.
impress orang lain kan, bahaya juga.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, I found
Oh,
it. This is the
that is
one.
what?
Yeah. So
Ah,
it says in Japan, Japanese culture is a very masculine society where women have to take a back seat in many aspects. We see, okay, this is a bit spicy.
okay, a lot of people don't know this. It's true. On the surface, yes, masculinity is very very prevalent because a lot of males are out there taking leadership roles and whatnot. But the truth be told, actually is not. It's completely the opposite. The real master at home is actually the wife.
Mm, mm,
Yeah, so they handle everything, and top bottom right from the first person in the organizational structure at home is the wife first, the kid, first kid, second kid, third kid, and then if there are grandparents or mother-in-law, mother-in-law, and then father-in-law, then after the father-in-law will be either the cat or the dog or the goldfish. The last person is the guy,
mm.
lowest denominator. You just go out and get work, bring in the money. That's all.
Speaking of which, right? During International Women's Day this year, March the 8th, there's always some celebration celebrating women globally, and once in a while I get comments, unintended comments, and they mean no harm. That behind every successful man there is a successful woman. I call that bullshit, because as far again, this is just my own opinion based on how I observe both old men in my household, my grandfather and my father treated the women. There, especially my father, he prefers walking behind my mother, never in front of her. And I
Oh.
literally took that upon me, that I treat my wife the same way as well. At most, she's going to be right beside me. Of course, it's not all the time, and we have to talk about practicality as well. Sometimes, especially when we are traveling, there was a time where we were traveling in Phuket, and I seem to be the more familiar person with the local surroundings, and obviously, I lead the way. Okay, fine. But in a social setting, especially when we're in a formal setting or wedding banquet, whatnot, where there is actually a presentation of sorts, how we walk in and whatnot, right? Here's the thing: you hold your wife's hand or your other half's hands, right? And sometimes you cling on to your arm. So here's my question about how is it that a woman stands behind a man when she clings, or you hold her hand side by side? That's the logic I carry. So don't quite agree
Mm.
with the fact that again, it's just me, that
Mm.
women walks behind the man. So
Yeah, yeah.
I really hope my son picks a few of these things up. I'm taking it upon myself to raise a gentleman. I hope I'm
Yeah.
successful.
Yeah, good stuff, man. I hope that little then Daniel Junior would learn the same things that you learned when you were younger. But there will be,
Yes,
trust me,
yes,
there'll be a lot of fun
yeah,
that on that front. He probably
yeah.
might want to run away from home one time, so you got to get ready
Uh,
your script for that as well.
so
So be prepared.
I hope he doesn't do half the crap that I did, but I'm very confident. Even my wife shares my sentiment that he's picking up cues. For example, he's turning 3 this year, but when he was about 18 months old, he actually pulled out chairs. He did, and his first time he did was for his grandmother. The only thing that he didn't realize it was that his grandmother was at the dining table trying to, or almost seated, and wasn't aware that this little fella, barely 2.5 feet tall, is going to pull a chair out. So timing
Mm.
salah, as he pulled the chair out, the grandmother fell on a buntut. But the
Alamak.
fact is that, you know, besides being a wrong timing, I think he caught the idea. And I don't know, maybe through his observation, and kids are very, very sensitive to observing grown-ups. And at 18 months old, he did that. And I thought, oh, okay. Yeah, a bit of refinement. You're almost there, boy.
Pandai, man. Yeah, we're gonna meet Daniel Junior. Have to meet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
come to my family powerhouse, all girls. Back to the lower levels. Okay, Chris just
so
confirmed that the Sea Master, and Nikki said that Daniel got to show us your Aston Martin.
I don't even have a ganjil or proton or whatnot. I don't even have a car, which I'm very thankful because for the past 2 years, lockdown, and rather than have a car and collecting dust in the car park lot of my condo. So yeah, I don't even have a car.
But don't we all want an Aston Martin?
Yeah.
One day, one day.
A Rolex
Submariner.
submarine during Sean Connery's days. Yeah, yeah.
All right, interesting insider info for Japanese culture. Thanks. No worries, Yatong. More coming up for sure. And a funny joke: the Arab walked behind the wife purely for safety reasons due to IED planted on the road. Uh, it's very funny because somebody actually said the same thing. Behind every successful man, there's a successful woman, right? So for me, I always do, yeah, because you're holding ransom. I'm walking in front, the lady behind. I want to see where you're going. I'm gonna shoot you if you ever do something. So that's why I was behind you. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, cool stuff, Daniel. Thank you so much. We are at 105 now, so we just went past the hour mark. That was very fun. I love the chat we had today, man. I learned so much more about you, and I hope that everybody else also, at the same time, got a bit of insight to Daniel's background and also learn a bit about how to be a gentleman. I think it's a fun session, man. Any last words from you to everyone else in the panel?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you so much for joining us and listening to Toothless. Trash it out and have fun and look at the shocks in the at the end of the day, being a gentleman is a label. It's a social label. It doesn't matter when one is labeled a gentleman or not. I think at the end of the day, the essence of what we're trying to deliver is to be courteous, to be good mannered, mild mannered, some say, and of course, be polite. I think it all starts from there. And whether or not if you're recognized as a gentleman, well, that's a bonus if that happens. So be kind, be kind. Be kind to someone. You never know what's going on, what you're going through or stuff like that. So it doesn't hurt. Most welcome, Tom.
Yeah, thanks for the guys tonight. Chris, I'm quite shocked because it wasn't your normal opening. So, oh, we're taken aback by Chris. He would have posted like, was crack-a-lacking, and I was semi-expecting that there was an automatic response from him, but actually no, he came up with something different. So I'm like, I'm very happy. All right, so thank you so much, and I hope you guys enjoyed the show. And for those that are tuning in next time, we have an interesting guest coming in next week, so I'll be sharing that a bit more soon. But thank you to our special guest for today, Mr. Daniel Goh.
Thank you.
Yay. And with that, we'd like to wish you good night.
Good night. Stay safe.